Give me a minute to.
Good evening, and welcome to the March 9, 2020 Muskogee Municipal Authority meeting. A roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Here.
Stephanie Morgan.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes. Here. Item 1.
Consider approval of MMA minutes of February 10th, 2020.
You all have had a chance to look at the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Sorry.
Second.
Right. Roll call.
We're on MMA.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 2.
Consider approval of MMA claims for the month ending February 29th, 2020.
Yes, if I may.
Yes.
You do have the claims before you for the month, and we do recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Abstain.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. That concludes the Muskogee Municipal Authority meeting, and we will go into the special call meeting of the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority meeting of March 9, 2020. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Here.
Stephanie Morgan.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 1.
Consider approval of the appointment of Alex Reynolds to serve on the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority Tourism Board, filling an unexpired term beginning March 1st, 2020, and ending June 30th, 2023, or take other necessary action.
Trustee Reynolds.
I nominate myself to the Tourism Board.
All
Second.
right.
Second.
We have, that's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Thank you, make a fine board member.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. And that concludes the meeting of the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority. And then we will go into the meeting of March 9, 2020 of the Muskogee City Council. Please stand for the invocation by Council Member Ivory Van, followed by the flag salute.
Bow our heads, please. Our Heavenly Gracious Father, this evening, dear Lord, just thank you for the air we breathe, oh Heavenly Father. Just thank you for our health and strength. And just thank you for allowing us to be here, oh Heavenly God. And just thank you, Heavenly Father, and bless the people around the world that's going through this coronavirus, oh dear Lord. I know you can heal anybody, dear Lord. And we just want you to just thank you to get them back on their feet, so Heavenly Father, and keep this stuff from spreading. And oh Heavenly Father, bless our city and bless our employees. Keep them safe every day. And bless our council, oh dear Lord. Help us to make the right decisions and your will for our citizens. And Lord, just help us through this week and give us a blessed week, oh Heavenly Father. Keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. To be your holy will. We ask all these blessings in your name for your sake. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. And once again, the roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Here.
Stephanie Morgan.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Alex Reynolds,
Here.
Jamie Stout,
Here.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here. You all have had a chance to look at the City Council regular session minutes of February 24, 2020.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. The consent agenda consists of items 1 through 6. Is there any of those that anyone wants moved to the regular agenda?
Move for approval?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout. Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 7.
Consider approval of ordinance number 4091-A, amending the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Boards and Commissions, Division 16, Contractors Pre-Qualification Board by amending Sections 2-550, Definitions 2-552, General Requirements, 2-553 Fees, providing for repealer, severability, and declaring an emergency or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin.
Mayor, members of the council, we're requesting approval to amend the pre-qualification ordinance in 3 areas. The first area is dealing with the general contractors. Currently, this ordinance only addresses the general contractors. We're wanting to make it to where it would work for the general contractor or subcontractors. The reason for that is the general contractor wanted to bid on a job. Say, for example, he was only licensed to do or certified to do water and sewer. The job that the city had out was water, sewer, stormwater, and streets. He could not be the general contractor and bid because he is not licensed in all 4 categories. The revision we're wanting to make will allow him to bid on it as long as his subcontractors are certified. So this would address not only the general contractor, but the subcontractor for certification. The next item we want to change, it deals with the audited financial statement. The ordinance does require one. However, the pre-qualification board determined that the gross receipts for the company as well as their bonding capacity was sufficient information to satisfy the financial section. Since they're not going to require the audited financial report or statement, we think it should be removed from the ordinance. The last thing we're changing deals with the fee section. Currently, it does set fees for the certificate within the ordinance. If you look at the Code of Ordinances, Section 1-22, it says that an ordinance will authorize you to collect the fee, but there has to be a resolution that sets the fee and sets the fees within the Appendix A. The main reason for that is from time to time, the city looks at the fees and checks on whether they need to increase. Right now, the fees should all be listed in Appendix A. If they're listed in the ordinances, of course, you've seen the ordinance book, we'd have to go through every ordinance to see what all fees the city has. That was the reason for that change. And the resolution's actually the next item on the agenda. Those are the 3 changes. Staff recommends approval, and the pre-qualification board met earlier this afternoon and also recommended approval. Be glad to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. We also need a motion approving the emergency.
Make a motion that we declare item number 7 an emergency.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 8.
Consider approval of resolution number 2800 adopting an amendment to Appendix A of the Muskogee City Code pertaining to schedule of fees and charges for certification of competency, per the attached list, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin.
As we discussed on the last item, this is the resolution that will set the fees for the pre-qualification ordinance for the certificate. The fee for processing and issuing the certificate is set at $200, same as it was previously in the ordinance, and the annual renewal fee will be $100. The pre-qualification board did recommend approval. Glad to answer any questions.
Will each general contractor and subcontractor have to submit the fee?
It depends. If they're wanting to be the bidder, then they will have to submit the fee and get certified. If they're anyone who gets the license will have to submit a fee, whether it's a general contractor or a subcontractor. They're going to be certified.
So if they're needing the license in that bid packet, they'll have to submit the fees. So
Yes.
you may have 3 people submitting fees for one bid.
Can I say that
Because
again?
you need that, say you need a plumbing,
It'll be one fee. If he wanted to do, if say they wanted to do all categories, it'd still be $200. If they wanted to do water and sewer, it's still $200.
but you may need 3 subs in those and 3 different
Each
people.
different sub, if they're going to get a certificate, they have to pay the $200 for each
Okay,
sub.
just a clarification.
But it would not be for just one particular job. It would be for all
Yes.
jobs in the city. So
Okay, just want to make clarification. Thank you.
Gary, so once a sub would be hired and the $200 would be paid for that sub, that would last the rest of the year?
Yes, then it's a renewal, $100 each year thereafter for the renewal, assuming they still meet the requirements.
Move for approval, item number 8.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs. Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janey Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 9.
Receive update on retail recruitment and consulting services from Retail Strategies and take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin again.
Mayor, members of the council, as you're aware, we entered into a contract with Retail Strategies back in January of this year. Our contract with them is for retail recruitment, consulting services, retail academy, and downtown strategies. Clay Craft with Retail Strategies is here to give mayor and council an update on their first 60 days and kind of what to expect moving forward. This is also an opportunity for mayor and council to ask any questions of them or concerns with them moving forward. At this point, I'd ask Mr. Kraft to come forward and give his update.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
City
morning.
Manager, Council. Thank you very much for having us tonight. My name is Clay Kraft. I'm Portfolio Director for Retail Strategies. We are a Birmingham, Alabama-based retail recruitment and consulting firm. I myself have been working in the state of Oklahoma for 6 years now. Worked with communities all across the state, every corner. So we're very proud and excited to be partnered with you guys. We're very much in the infancy stage of our partnership. Today is really the exciting part for us. It's what we call our boots on the ground tour. So we've been here all day taking inventory of sites. So we're looking at sites for new development, redevelopment, higher, better use. Our process is really, we're real estate driven. Our company was born out of a real estate brokerage and development firm. The partners of our company saw a need between the retail brokerage and development company and municipalities, and there was a lack of communication. Both sides didn't know how to work with each other. So our company was born out of that. But with that said, we're certainly a real estate firm. So our process today is taking an inventory of those properties and then eventually matching them up with retailers that are expanding across the state and across the country nationally. So really, today again we're taking those properties and through a process of void analysis, peer analysis, which is looking at communities that are statistically on paper the same as Muskogee. We're going to come up with a list of retailers that we think fit in the market. We're going to take those properties that we are inventorying today and moving forward, and we're going to see which of those properties fit. And what makes us different is we're actually proactively reaching out to the retailers, developers, and brokers that move the needle in the market. You know, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, effort. We attend trade shows all across the country to be face-to-face with these decision makers. The rest is emails, phone calls, and face-to-face meetings. So it's not an easy process, but we see a lot of opportunity here in the market, and we're certainly excited to start that proactive retail recruitment. The bulk of our recruitment does not start until after today, because anytime I'm talking to a retailer, I want to have experience on the ground, see the sites for what they are. But with that said, we do already just through our connections we've built across the industry and some conversations we've had. We've got a couple of good leads and some traction with a couple of retailers that I think everyone would be very excited about, and we're excited to move those deals forward. Going to kind of talk about a couple areas of town that we want to focus on. As Gary mentioned, part of this contract is what myself and Reed Reinigold, we're focused on the retail strategy portion, which is the proactive retail recruitment. Gary also mentioned the Retail Academy, and that's where Gary and possibly Mike is going to come to Birmingham. We're going to host them, kind of pull back the veil as to what we do. And teach you guys how to do it. With that said, we're certainly implementing this strategy and doing ourselves, but it's good to have that information share to give you the guys the tools to do it also. The third part of that is the downtown strategies, and the downtown strategies is a program that we've developed because what we're mainly focused on is national retail. National retail and downtowns don't typically dovetail, although I do think there is some opportunities here in town. So downtown strategies is going to be a comprehensive look into the downtown for strategies that can be implemented with things that are already existing in the market. It's not a big comprehensive plan that lays on a shelf and can't be implemented. It's going to be a strategy that within the next 365 days, things that you have in your market that you can start implementing to drive retailers into the downtown area. So with that said, I think obviously the best opportunity we see is the urban renewal area. Obviously, the city has expressed that there's incentives to be placing the infrastructure in that area. Just from a co-tenancy standpoint, a lot of retail is already happening right there. So we see a tremendous amount of opportunity in that area. The Three Corners area got great traffic counts there. Some available land. Yes. Oh, sorry. And anybody can stop me at any time. I thought you had a question. I'm sorry. Tremendous amount of opportunity in the Three Corners area. Already see some great movement with Starbucks. We hope to kind of ride that momentum of new retail coming in that area. The Arrowhead Mall certainly has its challenges. I would just say nationally, indoor and enclosed malls are going to face an uphill battle. The reason is consumer preferences have changed. 20 years ago, those department stores, they had those all-inclusive brands that you really had to go there to the department stores to buy those clothes. Now, unfortunately, most of those brands have broken out into their own brick-and-mortar stores. They have a heavy online presence, so filling those department store boxes is a challenge. Fortunately, there are some concepts that are now starting to fill those opportunities. I want to coin the term multi-tainment. There's a lot of entertainment uses that are now filling these boxes. So we think that could potentially be an opportunity. It really, the modern day mall is about getting people back to the mall through any means necessary. And we do think that having an entertainment type concept to take one of those department store anchor boxes would be a great way to get people back into the mall. That'll support the restaurants. That'll bring the restaurants back, and also help the other retailers that are currently existing in the mall. The Kurtz Mall area, certainly think that's a great opportunity. Obviously, the new ownership has got a lot of things going on there. Still think there's some opportunity to be had in that general area. Maybe some higher and better use type. There's obviously the hotel and motel that has recently been demoed presents some great pad site opportunities that we want to go after. And then I mentioned the downtown and South Main area. I think Jen Gregory, who's our downtown specialist, that's really going to be where her expertise comes in. I think that's more of a boutique, mom and pop type area. Obviously, the Come and Go Center, Come and Go site that recently vacated. Think that's a pretty good opportunity that we can go after. Lots of retailers fit that type site. And then the Peak Boulevard corridor. Obviously, there's been some recent changes with the ingress egress to a couple sites on that corridor that we think could really move the needle for a couple of the retailers that we think would be a good fit for that. So again, today's really the jump off point. Like I said, the boots on our ground. It will culminate in a retail recruitment plan that I will deliver to Gary and Mike, and then we'll have a public version that will be able to be shared electronically with you all. Certainly we are not a deliverable company. I'll make no mistake about that. Our company is represented by hard work through outreach to retailers, brokers, developers that are moving the needle in the market. But we're excited to take what we found here today, take that out to the retail world, and see what we can get going here. So I'd love to answer any questions you guys have.
Mr. Mayor, may I recognize, excuse me, may I be recognized, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You made a very good point just a while ago. On South Main, you're talking about the mom and pops stores?
Yes.
But anyway, going south on down where that Come and Go used to be, that just looks, that's in our ward, me and Councilman Reed's ward. And when that Come and Go was there, it was live.
Yep.
Had gas. And, you got to drive clear across town just to get gas now.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a bad spot.
Right.
So I'm glad you brought that, went down there and looked at that and brought that to our attention also, to the council, which, I have before. And also on Highway 69, from Okmulgee, going back south.
Yes.
All the way out towards Peak. That right there area needs to be definitely redeveloped.
There's a lot of opportunity for redevelopment. We talked about that area a lot. I think it's going to take a lot of local investment to get that corridor where it needs to be. There's a lot of rundown hotels and motels, but I see a lot of opportunity in that corridor especially. It's going to be about timing for sure. But with enough infrastructure in place and local investment and outside investment, I think that whole corridor can be transformed into something that it should be.
I just hope you're not a talker and a doer.
No, you can look at our track record. We've done deals all across the country. I personally work in this region, but our company's track record is. Now, I'm not gonna promise anything. Not gonna say we're gonna deliver any miracles, but I stand firmly behind what we're capable of doing, and I'm not blowing smoke by saying I see a tremendous amount of opportunity. Sometimes we come into a market and there's a lot of opportunity, but the retail that we think fits is already there. I look at the retail that's missing based on what I know about the community and just about retailers that are growing, and I certainly see a void. So it's going to be talking to those retailers because inevitably they've looked at your market already. So we want to find out. We know you've heard of Muskogee. You've looked at it before. Why aren't you here? What are the barriers to entry? Because we're in the ability, because we're partnered with you, we can be site agnostic. So we don't hitch our wagons to any particular site. So if I was a landlord rep and I was pitching you my site, and let's just say I had 1 or 2 sites listed in the market, if Mr. Retailer didn't like either one of those sites, I really got nothing to move forward with that retailer. But I can go to that retailer and say, hey, give us your best case scenario to be in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and let us figure it out.
One more thing. You know where Walmart is located, right? On Shawnee?
I do, yes.
Okay. If you go out towards Peak Boulevard, Hilldale area, and all out in that area, nothing.
Right.
I mean, except, come and goes and stuff like that.
Sure,
People
sure.
on that side of town, I know they get tired of driving all the way down to
For sure,
Walmart.
for sure.
So that's another thing I would like for you to be interested in looking at.
Absolutely.
I'll turn the floor,
Oh, sir.
I'll turn the floor back over to you, Ms. Mayor. And
Thank you very much.
Can I have the floor, Miss?
Yes.
I was going to say, Ivory's taken over my Peak Boulevard area.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that would be great to see some development out there
Sure,
for us, so everybody doesn't have to drive all the way into
Exactly,
town
yeah.
and everything. So.
Yeah, we see the opportunity for sure. It's something that that area probably has a little bit more of a longer fuse on it, just because retailers don't necessarily like to pioneer side of the market. And not that would be totally pioneering, but when a retailer is looking at the market, they're probably going to figure out how they can get as close to the existing retail as possible.
Yep.
And if it doesn't make sense for them on paper, that's when we can move that conversation down to areas that truly do need the retail.
Yep. And we have 2 new restaurants fixing it. Well, one opened yesterday and went there for lunch today, and it was great. So,
Great.
And then another one opening up pretty soon. So, everybody go try out the new restaurant.
One of the challenges that we've had here is getting grocery stores
Sure.
in here. Are you seeing that nationwide, or is that just changing market, or is that just something specific to our area?
Yes, I would say, Oklahoma as a state, it faces an issue where there's not a really strong dominant grocer that absolutely controls the market. You look where I come from, Publix. Publix is in every market. You don't have a dominant grocer that's in every single town in Oklahoma like Publix is in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. So you have an inventory challenge in the state. You also have a compression from the organic grocers, because we all thought 3 years ago that organics were just going to take over the grocery market. Well, if you look at Lucky's Market, they closed every location in the state of Florida. They were supposed to do 100 locations over the next 3 to 4 years. They're closing every location. They had Kroger back funding, so it wasn't a capital. It was just a consumer. Consumers were finding they don't necessarily. They think they want that high-end grocery experience, but when it comes to when they're ringing up and their normal grocery bill that was $200 is now $500, that's a one-time adventure for them. So we're seeing consumers are fickle beast, and we're seeing a kind of a tick back away from the organics. So we thought organics were going to kind of fill up some of the void that some of the mainstay grocers, but we're really seeing not a resurgence, but a surgence from the lower end grocery. And that's what's kind of filling the void that's left by that.
Kind of a blended market that's kind of filling that in.
It is.
Now.
It is. Yeah.
My concern, I guess, would be the 69 corridor, as
Okay.
most have expressed. On
Yes.
three corners, we just knew that was going to be a maker for us.
Sure.
And then immediately ODOT changed our whole plan and killed us for 2 years.
Right.
And that's killed all the property down 69, because nobody's going to move in there and do anything when there's no plan from ODOT.
Sure.
We finally got that moving, but with no decision there, do you see challenges with getting anybody in there for any time period with the uncertainty of ODOT until there's a final plan, or do you still see that there's potential for three corners, since that is not changing, but the other section is changing?
That's a good question. Certainly, with the uncertainty, retailers have to, on a yearly basis, they have a certain quota of stores that they are directed to do. So, if there is any barriers within the time frame that they've selected for Muskogee, that could cause issues. I'm not intimately familiar with the timeline from ODOT. We'll certainly delve into that a little bit deeper and fully understand that challenge. But I would say any type of uncertainty, really in any industry, is going to cause some issues.
Thank you. I'm just concerned
I think we're seeing
about-
the stock market right now.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Uncertainty causes volatility.
I'm just concerned about the city paying, interest on that loan, and ODOT's kind of generated that for us, and we're going to still continue to pay that.
Right.
Until we get a finalized plan on that, and during the construction of which we want to take place, is the improvements on
Yeah.
ODOT, but we're not going to be able to do anything on that property until that's finalized out. Thank you.
Good question.
What do you all do in terms of helping cities our size address food deserts, where along the same lines, it's harder and harder for our residents to get grocery stores,
Right.
especially when gas stations close? So does your organization do any type of analysis to help us understand what we need to do to overcome the barrier of food deserts that we have in our community?
Yeah, certainly. We'll look at your community, and we've looked at it through the eyes of a gap analysis to figure out where the market gaps are, and we can run gaps from specific areas. So if there's certainly areas that we've identified that are food deserts, we can certainly put those under a magnifying glass. Now, I will say we're not able to steer any retailers. The retailers are going to go where it makes sense for them to have a profitable location. But what we can do is we can put a spotlight on efforts that maybe they were overlooked. So if a retailer is looking at a market, they're going to have their check boxes. And if it doesn't meet X, Y, and Z, they're going to move on, because they got to do 200 locations this year. And you're not up against communities in the state. You're up against communities nationwide. So if a retailer is doing 200 locations, that's 200 locations nationwide. So we want to put a spotlight on efforts, on opportunities that maybe have been overlooked, and craft that narrative to the retailer why they should take a first, second, third, or fourth look.
And over the course of that process, we can make recommendations in terms of areas that we know where residents have a difficult time getting to the grocery store because we have more of a walkable community. So we'll be able to make our own suggestions to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't promise that we can deliver on everything because, like I said, our connections and expertise is with the national retail. So if we don't think it's a fit for a national type brand, certainly probably out of our wheelhouse, and our time is better spent in other areas. But certainly, I'm willing to take suggestions and look at anything you guys have.
Thank you.
Mr. Kraft, how long have you been here, or how long will you be here this visit?
I've been here all day and leaving as soon as the sun goes down. We've got some more parts of the market to I want to spend as much time as visibly we can. But today is our visit.
Is this your first visit to Muskogee?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had a great time in the market today, and it's been some eye-opening, really good opportunities.
And so you guys have been working for 60 days on our project, and
Approximately 60 days, yes.
okay, and
Yeah,
you have not been here prior to.
not to Muskogee, no.
Okay.
Our sales team has been here, several times, but I myself personally have never been to Muskogee.
Okay. Can I ask you, is there a real estate fee associated with anything? If you all were to bring a tenant to town and they were to decide to build a grocery store, would we also owe you a real estate fee on that?
Not at all. Not at all.
Would we owe your real estate firm a fee for that?
No, we're not. Generally, we're not transacting on any of these, and certainly, the city's not paying us a fee other than our contractual agreement. So there's no ancillary fees outside that. Now, if it was city-owned property and we brought an outside investor, that's a totally separate conversation. But with our company, absolutely not. Our motivation is to bring retail to the market so we can have a lifetime partnership with you guys. That's best case scenario. So we want to move the needle, impress you guys, and hopefully we can continue working for a long time.
We have some. Councilor Coleman brought up our food desert situation. Yes. We have a very big problem with that, as well as lack of grocery stores, and we're being choked out by some of the dollar stores.
Okay.
They're moving into the areas where we really need to, where we try to need to get grocery stores.
Right.
They're filling a small niche for just a few basic items, but not really the rest of
Right.
that. That's certainly something we'll need to help you address.
Yeah, that's unfortunately our modern reality. Those dollar stores are becoming the grocery store for those communities. So that the grocery stores have an uncanny way of identifying these neighborhoods that don't have access to the goods. The good news is it's not an immediate fix, but the good news is we're seeing a lot of these dollar concepts really broaden their horizons when it comes to their offerings. And they are beginning to offer fresh food and produce in some of their stores. So we're starting to see the micro, and we're seeing from all sectors of retail, everybody's right-sizing their footprint. Every single sector in the United States, they are shrinking their square footage. Just to they're having to do things to combat online and overhead and square footage, right-sizing their footprint. Really, the days of the pre-2009 overbuilt stores are just not. They don't make sense anymore.
We have a very unique town here, and we have some great things to offer, but our needs are really unique to Muskogee. And I would encourage you guys to come and spend a little more time than one day. You're going to not, as a person with a real estate background and a development background, this is going to be a challenge, and you're going to really need some boots on the ground here, really getting to understand the existing market as it is. Sure. and how it can move forward.
Yep.
Because what would apply in other towns won't necessarily apply here, and vice versa. And I would encourage you to spend a little more time and speak to a lot of different people, as well as the surrounding property owners and stores in that area, so you can get a real good understanding of where you are.
And that's a large part of our process, speaking to as many property owners and developers and brokers that are working here in the market to really understand the dynamics. Certainly, we'll rely on our points of contact here at the city to keep us engaged in everything that's happening and give us some of the backstory. And so far, they've been excellent in providing us way above and beyond anything we've asked. So I would commend the staff already for what they've done and provided to us.
Ms. Mayor, may I be recognized one more time?
One more time.
One more time. Yes, sir. My pet peeve all these years has been like we have senior citizens downtown. Did you go to our downtown area?
I did.
Said today.
I did.
You go talk to any senior citizens in those buildings. We have 2 big high-rise buildings downtown. Plus, we have another one apartment right there on 2nd and Broadway. They're not. It's kind of mixed. And then we have another set of apartments on Court. So I'm always wondering, what do you think about having a grocery store downtown for those citizens there in our downtown area?
Sure. Downtown grocery is a concept that's in a lot of major metro areas, obviously. I don't want to sit here and say it's not a fit. It's just not a common trend that we're seeing. Now, if it makes sense, if there's the appropriate amount of land to develop a grocery store and we can convince one, absolutely. Part of our downtown strategy is our downtown consultant is going to come and spend multiple days. They're going to have stakeholder meetings, talking with as many people in the downtown area as possible. So I think you'll be really encouraged and impressed by that process.
Turn the floor back over to you, Ms. Mayor. Last time.
Thank you very much. If there's nothing further, we appreciate it very much. I don't think we need any action, do we, except to tell you how much we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the trust that you place in us, and certainly don't want to let you down. So we're excited to partner with you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
We will go to item 10.
Discuss and take action to approve revised council policy 2-7, safety plan, creating a safety culture and taking other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'll invite Avery Rigney, our safety director, to the podium. As you all may remember, at the last council meeting, he spoke on our year in review on safety for 2019. He also made some intimations of a revised 2020 safety plan, and I believe he's here to present those to you. Before I actually turn the floor over to him, I will tell you that the revised plan is what I had passed out to you, so you should have a red-line copy of that as well.
All right, thank you. As Roy said, there's a red line copy in front of you. I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the changes. We talked about them last week, but I'll start first regarding the entire policy. All of the names were removed to allow personnel changes to require without having to rechange the policy. Second, each time the word prevent was used, it's been changed to the word reduce. This reflects our mindset of understanding accidents do happen in the workplace. Under the introduction, we have added the statement that all employees are accountable and responsible for working safely and taking actions to help create a safer workplace. Once again, this is a reflection of the mindset that safety starts at the front line. If you recall, last week we talked about training plans moving forward into 2020. We established that trainings will be SOP-based and done by supervisors and foremen, and we set a pace for one training per week. Moving down to creating a safety culture, we define what our expectations are and how we will attempt to meet them. We have added proactive measures such as worksite inspections, audit forms, hazard submission forms, and near-miss forms. Lastly, we have adjusted the format of the goals to be read more clearly, and we have set goals that we talked about last week, such as lowering workers' comp costs by 7.5%, lowering our recordable incident count by 5%, recording at least 100 worksite inspections and maintain a 75% satisfaction rate. All OSHA and POSH trainings move to an SOP format, and creating a procedure to minimize the risk of sanitation employees being struck by vehicles while they're working. That's in regards to a recent incident that we had, I believe, 2 weeks ago from Thursday. We had an employee who was struck by a vehicle, and part of that is to create a procedure that allows them to do their job safer, but another part of that is to remind the public of their duty when approaching a sanitation vehicle. And you'll see that we have a city ordinance in place already that is referencing a state statute, an Oklahoma statute. And that says the driver of a motor vehicle, upon approaching a vehicle being used for solid waste or collecting solid waste or recyclables, displaying side marker lamps which flash in conjunction with turn signal lamps or vehicle hazard warning lamps pursuant to the provisions of 47 Oklahoma Statute, Section 12-227. If traveling on a highway that consists of 2 or more lanes that carry traffic in the same direction of travel as the other drivers, proceed with due caution and if possible, with due regard to the road, weather conditions, and traffic conditions, change lanes into the lane that is not adjacent to the vehicle being used in the collection of refuse, solid waste, or recyclables. Or if that driver is not able to change lanes, or if to do so would be unsafe, the driver shall proceed with due caution and reduce the speed of the motor vehicle to a safe speed for the existing road, weather and traffic conditions, and if traveling on the highway other than a highway described in paragraph 1 of this subsection, proceed with due caution and reduce speed of the motor vehicle to a safe speed for the existing road, weather, and traffic conditions. Any person charged with violation of this shall, upon conviction, be punished with a fine of $100. And that concludes the changes with an overview of that city ordinance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Is there any questions or discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question for, this may perhaps apply to the city attorney. Mr. Tucker, on that fine, can that be raised?
It was set by state statute.
So we can't exceed state statute?
Right.
Thank you.
Anything further? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 11.
Receive presentation of certificates by Oklahoma State Historic Preservation Office for listings on the National Register of Historic Places and take other necessary action.
Ms. Callahan.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is probably the first time this item has been presented before City Council. It is not, however, our first National Register listings. We have approximately 27 properties and/or districts. But in the past, the certificates have been presented to the owners and to the city at the State Preservation Conference annually, and they have eliminated that conference, budget constraints and double time for other conferences. And so we had, the Historic Preservation Commission had asked to have it presented at City Council to bring about an awareness of the preservation efforts and to let the public be aware of the actions that they're taking and the properties that are being recognized. So I introduce Sarah Wernicke. She is our National Register Coordinator with the State Historic Preservation Office, and she has the presentation and an explanation about the properties.
Thank you for having me. This is the very first time that we've presented our National Register certificates at a city council, so thank you very much for having me. Like you said, I am Sarah Wernicke. I am the National Register of Historic Places Program Coordinator for the state of Oklahoma at the Oklahoma State Historic Preservation Office. And we have two I'll just kind of give you a background on the National Register. So the National Register of Historic Places is a catalog of the buildings, sites, structures, districts, and objects significant in our past. And the register is the foundation for all of the State Historic Preservation Office's programs. Listing in the National Register provides recognition, limited protections, and in some cases, financial incentives for these important properties. The State Historic Preservation Office identifies, evaluates, and nominates properties for this special distinction. We have two properties that we're going to be recognizing today and presenting the city with the National Register of Historic Places certificates. Both nominations were prepared for the city of Muskogee using in-part grant funds from the Oklahoma State Historic Preservation Office. The first one is the First Church of Christ Scientist. The 1923 First Church of Christ Scientist at 302 North 7th Street in Muskogee, Oklahoma, is an excellent local example of the late 19th century, early 20th century revivals Mission Revival building, and it is listed for its architectural significance for the year of 1923. In 1912, the building was erected with a classical revival exterior, but in 1923, it was restyled as Mission Revival. The west end of the hipped roof was restructured to add a gable and a raised-shaped mission parapet. The north and south elevations were also given mission parapets. 3 walls received shaped buttresses, and the building was stuccoed. The fenestration pattern and window materials that are original to the 1912 remain, and as individual classical multi-light hung windows placed in symmetrical in the elevation. In 1997-1998, a reconnaissance level survey identified that only 4 late 19th, early 20th century revival, mission revival, or non-domestic properties within the survey boundaries in central Okmulgee, and only 2 domestic properties indicated that the mission revival style was relatively uncommon in the city. The building retains in the integrity of location, setting, design, materials, and workmanship, and still provides the feeling and association of a neighborhood worship center. It was listed in the National Register of Historic Places on July 15th, 2019. So we'd like to congratulate the property and the city for its work in recognizing this as an important property. Next, we have the Hotel Muskogee, or the Muskogee Hotel, whichever you prefer. The Hotel Muskogee, erected in 1922, 1923, and opened in 1923 at 26 West Broadway, which is on the northeast corner of West Broadway and North Main Street in Muskogee, Oklahoma, is locally significant in the area of social history for the years of 1923 to 1969. It represents a pattern of development in providing services to a specific group of people, commercial travelers, as a socially stratified lodging industry developed within the American economy from the early 20th century into the post-World War II era. Within that pattern, the building illustrates the rise and fall of commercial travelers' hotels for male sales representatives involved in manufacturing and wholesale distribution. It also illustrates the gendered nature of a growing business culture in America. From the mid-1920s through the 1940s, the Hotel Muskogee represented the link between the nation's commerce and Muskogee's commerce, and also segregated the genders of the business world. The building retains a high degree of integrity of location and setting, though downtown Muskogee has reduced in size and prominence since 1923. The hotel's design, materials, and workmanship have seen little alteration except for the first story south and west elevations, and the building reflects the feeling and association of a traveler's rest in an urban environment. It was listed in the National Register of Historic Places on July 12, 2019. So, on behalf of the Oklahoma State Historic Preservation Office, I would like to congratulate you on the listing of these 2 properties. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions about it?
Yes, Ms. Mayor, we recognize.
One more time.
I was just curious, ma'am.
Yes.
We appreciate your recognition on both of these buildings. But you said there's grant money out there to work on, like the same Muskogee Hotel. Where's it at?
So the grant money in particular for this is for the nomination of properties.
The nomination of property.
Yes.
Explain that a little bit to me. Put it in English.
Well, to work on it, he's asking for the renovation of the building.
Oh,
There's
okay.
the federal tax
So
credits.
for commercial properties, we have the historic preservation tax credit. But part of that is, so it's a 20% tax credit at the federal level, and then here in Oklahoma, once you qualify for that 20%, you automatically qualify for an additional 20% at the state level. But it is only for, is only for income-producing properties. We do not have any for non-income producing properties.
So nothing's been done for this. We can't get any kind.
Yes, that's part of the incentive of having them listed on the National Register. The 2 senior citizen buildings that you are referencing are both on the National Register, and part of that was the developers saw that as a way to get them developed by using the federal tax credits. Probably and possibly if they had not had those tax credits, those properties would not have been renovated and be brought back to use. And that's what our hope is for the Muskogee Hotel and any of the other properties on the National Register.
So you think this is going to help? I mean, eventually Muskogee Hotel is going to be revitalized.
That's the hope. That was one of the recommendations from our downtown consultant that had suggested us to push forward to try to get it on the National Register to get some developers interested in the property.
So the people that own it are the ones that can take advantage of those tax credits, not the city, for instance.
Correct.
So it's still got to be the owners of the property to take advantage.
Have we heard from the owners and see what they're doing at this present time?
We've had conversations with them on and off. I've not had one recently with representatives of the owners of that. But they were excited to get I did talk to them soon after they received notice, and they were excited and thought it presented an opportunity.
Yes, they did not object to the listing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Turn the floor back over, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or discussion for this nice lady?
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. I could tell you all that I attended the Christian Science Church with my grandmother one time at the same time that the actor Joel McCrae attended. It was a big deal way back then. Thank you. Let's go to item 12.
Consider approval of a contract with Midwest Employers Casualty Company for excess workers' compensation insurance in the amount of $90,266 or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor, members of the council, this is our annual renewal of our excess carrier contract for workers' compensation. As you all know, we are self-insured through the Oklahoma Workers' Compensation Court. We do, as a condition of that self-insurance, are obligated, rather, to maintain excess coverage. So once a claim reaches a certain amount, this coverage will pay any claims beyond that. So United Safety and Claims is our third-party administrator for our self-insured policy. They used to be known as Alliance Benefit Group, but they've changed names due to a buyout. They did reach out to our current policyholder Midwest Employers to solicit some additional quotes for this year, as well as reach out to Arch Specialty Insurance Company to determine whether they wanted to bid on our excess coverage. Our expiring policy had a premium of $85,577, which represented a self-insured retention policy of $500,000 per employee. That's effectively a deductible amount. And so while that generally won't happen over one claim over a singular year, some of the larger claims, which occur over a significant number of years, may reach that level, at which point we will need to maintain this excess coverage, in addition to that it being fiscally responsible, other than it's a requirement by having our self-insured certificate. So the renewal options were presented in the background. As I mentioned, Arch Specialty Insurance Company did not They did submit a bid, but it was significantly out of the range. So what we're recommending is to go with renewal option number 1, which would be for a premium of $90,266, which represents about a $5,000 increase. And this would allow us to maintain the same self-insured retention amount. Looking at option number 2, the deposit premium, which is the amount that we'd have to pay, is about the same as last year, but the coverage is not as good. And so that would make our self-insured retention, bring it up to $550,000. And so when we're looking at that as an employee, per employee basis, it is a much better deal to stick with the $500,000 self-insured retention. So that's what our recommendation is to engage or enter into a contract with Midwest Employers based upon renewal option number 1 for a policy premium of $90,266. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval of item number 12 as presented.
Second. Is there any question, discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs. Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes. Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 13.
Consider approval authorizing the Muskogee Fire Department to submit a grant to the Federal Emergency Management Agency under the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program for funding a triple combination fire attack pumper or take other necessary action.
Chief Jones.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, we just purchased a new fire truck. That fire truck was bought through Homeland Security. The grant was a 90-10 grant, meaning that FEMA paid 90% of the cost of the truck and the city paid 10, which I think is a good deal. We're here to ask approval to do the same thing again. We had so much fun doing it the last time. And we'd consider your approval for applying for another grant through Homeland Security for a truck similar to the one that we have now.
Move for approval.
Questions?
Second.
You want to talk?
Yes, Chief Jones, is this, the new truck was downstairs this
Yes, it
afternoon,
was
correct?
downstairs. I hope everybody got a chance to see it. If you didn't, you're welcome to come by the fire station. It's stationed on right behind the Civic Center at Station 1. You guys are welcome to come by anytime, climb over it and sit in it or whatever. Mia's been by, Tammy's been by, so the rest of you need to come by and do the same thing as well.
We're kind of proud of it, so I wanted
Yes,
to show
we're
it off.
very proud of it. It's a nice piece of equipment, state of the art, and we'd like to get another one.
I'm not
We'd all like
mistaken.
to get an automobile on that kind of a basis, I imagine.
Yeah, it's excellent.
If I'm not mistaken, this is our second truck that we purchased through this grant program.
I believe so. This is our second truck, but we're replacing the 31-year-old fire truck.
Yeah.
We have another 31-year-old fire truck that we need to replace as well to bring our fleet up to reasonable standard. So hopefully you guys will approve it because I think it's something good for the city.
I just really would want to express my appreciation to staff for reaching out. And, you know, grants are not easy to do.
Oh, no.
And it's about dotting the T's and the I's and doing everything right and making the right phone calls. But let me tell you, that's a lot of money to pursue.
Yes.
And it's a great safety tool for our community and for our firefighters that do a great job. And thank you so much for what you do.
You're very
That is a
welcome.
lot of money. That's a great tool. So you've done a lot of grants for our fire department, but it's great to see two trucks of that magnitude. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yes. Any questions, other questions?
Any questions, discussion? We got a motion? Okay, roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 14.
Mayor, if I could interrupt, item number 14 was put on this agenda by mistake. It was an appointment to the Muskogee Redevelopment Tourism Board, so that item was already handled when we had the tourism meeting. So no action needs to be on item number 14.
Oh, I thought he wanted to appoint himself again. Okay, we will go to item 15.
Consider approval of the appointment of Alex Reynolds to serve on the War Memorial Trust Authority, commensurate with his term on the City Council, replacing Councilor Jamie Stout, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Van.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank Kenna tonight for filling in for Tammy. I think you've done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
So we definitely appreciate it up here. So, Mr. Reynolds, Councilman Reynolds is my appointment for the War Memorial. You come highly recommended. I mean, highly recommended. So I think you'll do a very, very great job in serving the War Memorial Trust Authority. And this is my nomination, Councilman Reynolds.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries. We come to the part of our meeting where we recognize citizens wishing to speak to the mayor and council. We have one person who has signed up, Mr. Brandon Mosley.
While we're waiting on him to come up, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. We give him 2 additional minutes to the 3 minutes that he would be given.
Getting ready to ask Mr. Van, I need an extension.
Okay.
I beat him to it this tonight.
Thank you.
A second.
Before you start, would you please give us your full name and your address?
Brandon Mosley, P.O. Box 665, Vian, Oklahoma.
Mayor, we need a motion, we need a vote on the motion to extend his time.
Okay. Did we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
I need about 8. Please.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs.
Yes.
Stephanie Morgan.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes, and the motion carries.
5. You'll have total 5.
Go right ahead.
Before I get started, I just want to make it clear that I'm honored to be in the midst of some solid waste is royalty. Y'all have the decency and the fortitude to come out and be a voice and come with me with this movement. Come with me and my people. So I love y'all for that. Y'all put a lot of years in. Y'all set the standard down there before I got there. I'm gonna follow it with y'all though. I'm gonna bring it up to speed. I promise you that. All right, back to business, Ms. Mayor. Well, I don't need extension. You already gave me one, I guess. How many minutes do I get?
You got.
Clock running. I'm gonna need some more. Time. I have a document that I would like to hand out so y'all can get a visual of what I'm saying. My division, we're seeking an immediate approval of a reclassification within our department. Our grade levels in this division are 31s and 33s, which is equivalent to a maintenance 1 and a maintenance 2, so we were told. But with the findings and discoveries of this new information, that's not accurate. It clearly states in black and white, we are operator 1s and 2s. So we are seeking an immediate reclassification now. We addressed this matter with the Human Resources Director, Kelly. I don't know her last name. I done heard people say it 2 or 3 different names, so I don't know. But and she told us there was an error. But life is too real, and it's raining too vigorously on us right now to just kick an error to the side. We are held accountable when we make an error out there on those routes. So that should apply to everyone as well. We are trying to take the word "or" and replace it with "and." Build a bridge of inclusion and transparency so we can go a close future, not no long future, not no 10 years, a close future, like 4 months, 3 weeks, something like that, 2 days, and move forward in a nice, productive manner. If you believe in something, you will put it on the table. That's why we are here, because we believe in ourselves and we believe in the great product we provide on a daily basis to this city. I have been notified by my department that they are without hope, and we are prepared to go the distance by any means necessary. It starts tonight psychologically, and then on the budget day signings physically by administering that pen to that document and writing what has been wrong for way too long against us. On my second article, I am here this evening representing the Solid Waste Division, Public Works. We were here 2 weeks ago, but we are back because it was brought to our attention that the council wasn't really clear on what we were asking of them. We need for the council to help us get implemented room for advancement and growth within our division and more pay. I have had several conversations about this issue with several different people, including the city manager. 25 years ago, before they implemented this Hay study, this department had room for advancement and growth within its own. It once had a superintendent, a foreman, a lead man, the differential between commercial waste operator and residential operator. It had an overhead operator, a polycart distributor, a help truck. We don't have none of that now. So when the Hay study was implemented, it caused the solid waste department to lose their growth and advancement opportunities, and everyone in the department ended up with the same classifications. In life, you get what you pay for. So is it fair for someone that's been here 5 years and barely getting by to be classified the same as someone that has been here 5 years, a hard worker, perfect attendance, and is an overachiever? No, it's not fair, and it's not fair to us in this department. I am currently serving as the representative for the Public Works Department on a Hay Study Committee that was set up by Councilman Coleman a few months ago to review the Hay study this area. After being involved on this committee and doing my due diligence and research on several departments.
I'm sorry, but your extended time has run out.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we extend their time by 3 more minutes, please.
Council Reed, by Mr. Mosley, it may take him just a little longer than that. Is there anywhere we can extend it to 5 minutes? Let's give our employees some courtesy up here.
I yield to Mr. Van's motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we give Mr. Mosley 5 more minutes. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs? Yes. Stephanie Morgan?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Alex Reynolds?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes. Thank you, and we will reset the clock for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I am currently serving as a representative for the Public Works Department on a Hay Study Committee that was set up by Councilman Coleman a few months ago to review the Hay study for this area. After being involved on this committee and doing my due diligence and research on several departments, I've noticed that the Solid Waste Department is undervalued and underpaid. It's really irrelevant to mention what certain individuals in this room make, because the pay is public records, so it's no secret. But it's kind of sad that we work a job with 40 hours a week and still can't provide for our family without using some type of government assistance program to eat. These problems didn't just come up overnight, and they are ongoing problems. Some of the workers can't even afford to be in the union because they can't afford the union dues. We are demanding that this department gets the same respect as the other departments in public works. By respect, we mean room for advancement, more pay. When we approach the department head about an increase or change in our department, there's never any money in the budget. We would appreciate it if you would budget us in. Now, we are aware of the changes that are supposed to take place in this department in the near future, but we need change now. So the question was asked, what is it we want? We are wanting an opportunity for advancement, growth, and a living wage. Opportunity for advancement, you wonder what that is? It's what they took out of my department. That superintendent position, we want that back. That foreman, we want that back. That lead man position, we want that back. That overhead operator, we want that back. That polycart distributor, we want that back. That help truck guy, we want that back. And while we at the table, trying to proceed to go into the future, let's just change the whole demographic structure. Go ahead and implement a recycle sector for us too, because you ask why, I'll tell you. Solid waste discards tons of recycled perishables on a daily basis. And it could be refurbished back into the economy and the system and also the world. And it will increase revenue. So, helping save the generation coming, because it's not just my generation, it's our generation. Let's change our mindset, starting tonight. Our division brings in revenue monthly. It doesn't waste money. So when we're out there 5 to 6 days a week showing love, we just ask if y'all show us some love. Put us in the budget. Let us move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mosley. And we will move to item 16.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. Pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs? Stephanie Morgan?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Irie Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Alex Reynolds?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes, and the motion carries. Please excuse us while we go into executive session.
Hey, Tish.
And we're back. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson?
Here.
Evelyn Hibbs?
Here.
Stephanie Morgan?
Here.
Marlon Coleman?
Here.
Irie Van?
Here.
Derek Reed?
Here.
Alex Reynolds?
Here.
Jamie Stout?
Here.
Mayor Janie Boydston?
Here. Mr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 16A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss negotiations with FOP Lodge Number 95. After being briefed on the status of those negotiations, I think an appropriate motion would be to approve an MOU between the City of Muskogee and FOP Lodge Number 95 relating to modifications of the promotional process for the positions of captain and lieutenant.
So as stated, move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Evelyn Hibbs? Stephanie Morgan?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Irie Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Alex Reynolds?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes, and the motion carries, and that completes our agenda. Good evening.